Hello, and welcome to the Overflow podcast. My name is Craig Booker. The title of this episode is The Thing About Goals. A lot of the material for this week's episode was inspired by Craig Groeschel's book, The Power to Change Mastering the Habits That Matter Most. Note, I will talk a lot about mental health, but please note this is not a substitute for therapy or mental health care. I am not a counselor or physician. If you need help with mental health challenges, please find a qualified mental health professional. The title of this episode is The Thing About Goals. In this episode, we will start in a new part of the book that is titled Training Not Trying. In past episodes, we were covering the part of the book called Who Not Do. Each of the parts of the book is divided up into sections, and so this section is titled The Thing About Goals. Craig Groeschel starts off with a quote that says, "Defining your win is how you begin." He starts telling a story about how a problem or trend that he noticed in his own personal life led to him defining a win. He was noticing that his kids at various times would come up to him and ask him to do stuff or things that they wanted to do together with him. And he was always telling them, or he was often telling them no for one reason or another. He was either too busy or had too much stuff to do. And so he was reading a book that's called The Power of Moments. This led him to define a win in his personal life. And so as we're looking into uh, goals and this idea about goals, why do we need goals? And one of the reasons that we need goals is goals give us direction. Another reason we need goals is goals give us inspiration. So, starting off with goals give us direction. Let's look at the story of Paul. And Paul wrote a letter to inspire the Christians in Corinth, Greece. And in 1 Corinthians 9:24 in the New Living Translation says, "Don't you realize that in a race everyone runs, but only one person gets the prize. So run to win." Another passage that he quotes is 1 Corinthians 9:26 in the CEV says, "I don't run without a goal, and I don't box by beating my fists in the air." In the book, Craig Groeschel says, after winning a gold medal in the 1984 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles, Mauro Prosperi decided to compete in the 1994 Ultra Marathon in Morocco, a week-long race. Mauro disappeared on the fourth day, and he ran into a sandstorm which caused him to go 181 miles off course. He had no idea where he was going. He was completely lost, but still continued to run for 9 days. A quote from Craig Groeschel, it says, "You cannot do what you do not define. You cannot do what you don't define." So he says, define your win. So in the story, as I was saying, Craig Groeschel had a problem in his own life that he noticed, and that he was often telling his kids no when they wanted to do something for one reason or another. He was too busy, uh, whatever reason. He was always putting them off and not spending the time that he wanted with his kids. And so that led him to define this win. He said his win is to create moments of extraordinary impact with my kids. All right, so that was goals give us direction, and now we're going to talk about goals give us inspiration. And there's a concept, at least in Western culture, that's called before and after pictures. And simply what this means is, if someone is training maybe to get in better shape, maybe they're training for a marathon, maybe they're trying to lose weight, they will often take pictures at the beginning of their training, and they will take pictures as they progress, and then they will take pictures after they've reached their goal. And so if they take the beginning picture and the very last picture and put them side by side, they can see a big difference in their shape. Maybe, if they've been trying to lose weight, they lost weight, or they've gained a lot of muscle. And so if we take this concept and apply it to the Bible, a biblical before and after picture. We can look at the story of Paul. And Paul was on the road to Damascus to persecute more Christians when a bright light surrounded him. And before this moment, Paul had gone around killing Christians. Afterwards, he became one of the Christians he used to hunt. God extended grace to Paul, so Paul's win became sharing God's grace by preaching the word of God. So, what led Paul to define his win? We'll look at Galatians 1:13 through 16 of the New Living Translation. It says, you know what I was like when I followed the Jewish religion, how I violently persecuted God's church. I did my best to destroy it. I was far ahead of my fellow Jews in my zeal for the traditions of my ancestors. But even before I was born, God chose me and called me by his marvelous grace. Then it pleased him to reveal his son to me so that I would proclaim the good news about Jesus to the Gentiles. When this happened, I did not rush out to consult with any human being. Craig Groeschel says, defining the win is not how you win, but how you begin. So there's the question, how do you win? And Craig Groeschel says, you win when you quit trying. In this episode, we have an exercise. It says, what are the primary areas of your life where you need to establish a win? Some examples might be career, finances, health, marriage, parenting, relationship with God. He gives us his examples, and you could say, in this exercise, you could say, my win is to, and you fill in the blank. All right. So state your goal and who you will share it with for support. My goal is blank, and I commit to sharing it with blank. Principle for this section is defining your win is how you begin. 1 Corinthians 9:24 in the NLT says, run to win. That's all for this episode. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes.